Yo, peoples, Kyushu92 here, and welcome back to my Demon Slayer KIMETSU no YAIBA read-through. We're going to be reading through chapters 152 to 160, which makes up volume 18 of the series. Just a little bit of a recap from the last chapter. Tanjiro was recounting on his memories of his father when his father encountered a massive bear outside their home, and how his father pretty much just one-shot the bear effortlessly. And his father taught him how to properly, and he basically taught him the basics of what apparently Akaza uses to see what is called the transparent world. And Tanjiro is now taking those lessons to heart in order to see the transparent world for himself that apparently Akaza uses in order to be, extremely accurate and completely deadly in the fight between Akaza, Giyu, and Tanjiro. So now we get to see as Tanjiro starts to grasp the concepts of it, which will enable him to combat Akaza. So let's move on to chapter 152. When I entered the transparent world that my father taught me about, I dramatically increased the speed in which I could predict his moves and evade his attacks. His breathing and the flow of his blood became transparent to me. I also got a faster and clearer grasp of the contractions of my own muscles. Akaza may be sensing my fighting spirit, but if I close it off, I may be able to aim for his head. Chapter 152, The Transparent World. I just got to say before we continue, I am enjoying this entire series immensely, but I am also getting closer and closer to the end. Oh my goodness, I can't believe I managed to endure this long doing this entire series for you all, but I've been enjoying it entirely. But the next page we see after the cover page is, well, pretty much Akaza inflicting a wound on Giyu in a massive circular motion. And I believe it was a kick, but at the same time, Giyu inflicted like a small cut on Akaza's neck. Darn, I barely cut him. It was too shallow. Is this a difference in skill? Even if I make a strong, accurate attack, he responds with an equally sharp technique. I'm not getting anywhere. It's like he's predicting my attack forms. What a demon. This is upper rank 3. He's a killing machine. He's cast aside everything except fighting. It appears you've already used all your water forms. That's enough, Giyu. Let's end this. I'm surprised you lasted this long. And then Tanjiro is watching this go on. Watch closely. Pay attention. And he watches the movements of Giyu as he uses some more water forms and brings his sword close to Akaza. And Akaza brings his hand in an attempt to, I guess, block the sword. Not just block the sword. Akaza broke Giyu's katana right then and there. Impossible. He broke the incoming blade from the side and broke it. And then Akaza says, goodbye, and punches Giyu in the chest. Like punches him through the chest. And Akaza looks kind of dumbfounded. And we see his arm. Is his arm in his chest? No. Yo. What I thought was Akaza's arm going through Giyu's chest was the stump of his arm hitting his chest, because Tanjiro, in that instant, before Akaza killed Giyu and pretty much impaled him on his fist, Tanjiro cut his arm off before even Akaza could react. And there's Tanjiro. You can see the little flame-like pattern here on his eyes. Just as you guys know, I read from the Viz manga site, so if you want to read along with me while you're listening, then this is a perfect way to do it. But Akaza's severed arm just drops to the ground behind him. And it shows Tanjiro, who's using, I want to say, flame breathing, And his whole stance is completely changed. Like his scar is turned into a complete flame-like pattern, and his breathing is akin to that of flames itself. Tanjiro cut Akaza's arm off and stopped the attack. The sound of his breathing is different. His hair and eyes look different too. Tanjiro saved me. And then there's a heartbeat as Tanjiro stands in front of Akaza. Every fiber of my... And Akaza thinks, every fiber of my being, down to each strand of hair, is telling me to kill this kid right now. Something changed in him. He's dangerous. And it shows Giyu aiming for Akaza because Akaza's distracted, paying attention to Tanjiro right now. And Akaza stomps his foot, and he does his technique development, which basically reminds me of the Hyuga-style Taijutsu 8 trigrams. But instead of the 8 trigram patterns and everything, it's like a snowflake pattern for Akaza's technique development. I probably should have pointed that out the very first time I saw it, but it's just something that's really stuck out to me. Final form. Blue Silver Chaotic Afterglow. And Akaza's launching numerous attacks all over. Akaza launches numerous attacks while Giyu attempts to attack him as well. No, wait, this is Giyu's attack. Final form, Blue Silver Chaotic Afterglow. The speed of his attacks is increasing again. His power is increasing. Can I stand with it? With dead calm? And then Tanjiro's just standing there watching all this happen. But he's thinking to himself, this is what Father was talking about. The transparent world. And we see from Tanjiro's perspective that unlike how it looks normally to us, Tanjiro is able to see past the flesh, past the physical world. And he's able to see through Akaza. You can see his brain, his nervous system, his muscles, everything. He can see the transparent world. And he sees it on Giyu as well. This is strange. Time is passing slowly. Or does movement just look slow? And then it shows Giyu, who has been hit multiple times in real time. He actually has been hit by Akaza. It was inescapable. He hit me with 100 blows almost all at once. I couldn't block all of them, even with dead calm. Well done. I'm impressed you're still alive. Somehow you dodged a fatal blow, huh? Don't die like Hyojiro and Tanjiro. You should become a demon too, Giyu. Huh? He hasn't noticed. Tanjiro is behind him. Can't he sense him? Now! Take him now! Take him, Tanjiro! Since you can still move, do it! While he still hasn't noticed. Go for his neck! Akaza! I'm going to cut off your head! Oh boy, Tanjiro. You really suck at the element of surprise, don't you? I don't care how strong this dude is. You had every opportunity to just cut off Akaza's head because you had the element of surprise. Something that you very rarely get with this guy. And you want to yell out to him, I'm going to cut off your head, putting him on high alert, therefore eliminating your one window? You had one job. And then Akaza looks back and he aims at Tanjiro, but Tanjiro ducks underneath. The fool called out to him. And then Akaza thinks, he's alive, even after my last attack? Well, no bother. My destructive death compass needle can detect any attack. The stronger my opponent's fighting spirit, the stronger the response of my compass needle. And then he stops and starts thinking. What? What is this odd aura about him? It's like he's become a different creature. His fighting spirit is gone. He has no fighting spirit. Get a grip. Here he comes. Hinokami Kagura! and it shows Tanjiro appearing to cut through the neck of Akaza in an instant. You see the flame after image of his sword just flat out going through his neck. Hinokami Kagura, and the thing is, it threw me off, but this is a 2-page cover panel. This is a double panel here. Hinokami Kagura, setting sun transformation! And he cuts through the neck of Akaza, leaving Giyu completely dumbfounded, and Akaza thinking, no way. And that is the end of chapter 152. Onwards to chapter 153. Chapter 153, Pulled. And we have Akaza, who's stepping forward slightly as everything starts to settle. And we have Akaza's neck still bleeding, and the thoughts are popping up in his head. The last few hundred years, I've never once seen a human being without a fighting spirit. Even a baby has a faint fighting spirit, but in that moment his fighting spirit disappeared. Now I'm facing this unusual creature that shouldn't exist, and my senses are confused. My compass didn't respond. But that's not a problem. In battle, you must immediately understand and handle every unexpected situation you encounter. I can do that. Or so I thought. But in this brief fight, he grasped something and surpassed my speed. He came at me head-on and completely demolished hundreds of years of the essence of martial arts. In his eyes, there is no hatred or anger, no malevolence or fighting spirit. Perhaps what his eyes perceived was the domain of supremacy I've been seeking. Nothing less than a selfless state. I vaguely sensed such a state existed, but even now I had not reached it. And his head starts to come off of his shoulders, but then he immediately grabs his head and puts it back on for it to regenerate. No, I can still fight. I will go stronger yet. And then Tanjiro thinks, his head, is he trying to put it back on? And it shows Akaza still trying to hold his head in place, and Giyu aiming for Akaza. And throwing his sword, impaling Akaza's head, knocking it out of his hands. It can't end like this. I will become stronger. I must become stronger than anyone else. Stronger. Even stronger. But as he's saying this, his head falls away from his body, and it actually starts to crumble away. He's down. It's over. I won, thinks Tanjiro. I'm dizzy. And I guess he's feeling the after effects of seeing the transparent world, since this is the first time seeing it, and I guess it has some side effects to, entering and leaving it. My muscles are shaking. My body's reached its limit. And then it just shows a wordless panel with Giyu and Tanjiro looking at Akaza's headless body. But it's still standing. And Giyu thinks, his body hasn't fallen. How can this be? Then his foot stamps into the ground and brings up his compass needle again, his technique. And this surprises both Tanjiro and Giyu as his neck starts to either his neck starts to seal over. Like the exposed neck wound just, I guess, folds in on itself to close up. And his body starts attacking Tanjiro as it tries to chop into him, but Tanjiro barely manages to dodge. He's still moving? His body isn't going down. His neck wound closed. My head is spinning. And then the Akaza's body just kicks Tanjiro in the side. And it sends Tanjiro flying. It sends Tanjiro flying into a nearby wall. And kind of embeds him in it. No way. I cut off his head, but he didn't die. Is there a special condition like with Gyutaro and Daki? No, his head fell off and disappeared. Akaza is trying to change into something different. Just like Muzan, he's trying to make his weakness not be his head. This isn't over. The fight is still. And then he looks up a little bit and he tries his best to move. Tanjiro! And he passes out. Tanjiro passed out. He passed out, says Giyu. Of course, he's way past his limit. Then the body of Akaza starts moving towards Tanjiro. And Giyu gets up and uses water-breathing fourth form striking tide to keep Akaza's body from going after Tanjiro. And he slices the body in different places, but the body completely regenerates, despite his head being gone. He regenerated? He's so fast despite losing his head. And Giyu continues to use water breathing on the body, but the body keeps getting up. And he keeps making his way towards Tanjiro. And Giyu says, "Wait, I am still alive. If you want to kill Tanjiro, first defeat me." Our indomitable spirit, and whatever hardship we face, it never breaks. We are not samurai. We do not carry a katana, but we carry swords in our hearts. We only use our fists. And then the body thinks, what a nuisance. And then all of a sudden there's a tugging on him, and there's a girl tugging on his arm. And this girl says, "Hakuji, that's enough." So Akaza's name is Hakuji? That's the end of chapter 153. Onwards to chapter 154. Chapter 154, Assaulted by Memories. And I guess this is Giyu thinking, this is bad. I can't see very well. I'm about to pass out. I can't hear anything at all with my left ear. My right hand has no feeling. I have strength, but for how long? Sprinting isn't something you can do for a long time. If a normal person runs at full speed for just 10 seconds, they'll be totally out of breath. When you keep going past that, your speed drops, and then the precision of your techniques falls. Your muscles strain, your hands and feet get heavy like lead. Demons don't feel exhaustion or pain. In a fight against an upper-ranked demon, maintaining full strength for a long time is a miracle that only someone who can use breathing techniques can do. And then he grips his sword. I must pass on what was entrusted to me. Never again will I let family and friends die before my eyes. I'll save him. I will save Tanjiro, the same way I was saved. And then it cuts to Akaza, whose arm is still being gripped by this person who's holding on to him. Let go. Let go of my hand. Who are you?
Stop this. Let's leave this place.
No, I have to kill them.
Why?
I must become stronger. I kill anyone who gets in my way.
But why? Why do you want to be strong?
Because if I'm not strong, I can't bring it back. Medicine for my father. If I don't get stronger, I can't steal someone's wallet and get away. If I don't get stronger, I can't win when my victims retaliate. And if I don't get stronger, the magistrate's office will catch me and punish me. And I guess we are looking at the history of Akaza before he became a demon. You already have 3 lines tattooed on both arms for being a pickpocket. Next time, we'll cut off a hand. If that's what you're gonna do, then do it. If you cut off both my hands, I've got feet. I'll pickpocket with my feet. Anyway, next time I won't get caught. At just 11 years of age, you're a repeat offender, and yet you remain defiant despite receiving 100 lashes, which would make even a grown man faint. You are a demon child. Say whatever you want. And then, he's right. I am a demon child. After all, they say I had teeth since birth. Hakuji! And then there's a sign that he's running past that says, sign, town magistrate's office, and I guess that's him leaving. But then there are people there calling out to Akaza. You know, Hakuji. Hakuji! When he heard you got arrested again, your father hanged himself. He's dead. And this is an old person speaking to him. Wow. And he just visits the grave of his father, I guess. Dear Hakuji, live a righteous life. You can still change. I didn't want to live on if it meant stealing from people. I am sorry for troubling you. Wow. So the thing was, Akaza, Hakuji, was stealing medicine for his dad. But when his dad found out that he was stealing in order to keep his health up, he killed himself so he wouldn't be a burden on his son, making him, with his situation, causing him to go down this path. Bruh, that's gotta be hard. I am sorry for troubling you. Are the poor not even allowed to live? Father, to heck with this world. To heck with every last one of them. Why do these rotten people get to live, but my father has to die? He wasn't a bother. What did he have to apologize for? My father didn't do anything bad. I could take the punishment. They could whip me savagely or break all my bones, but I could take it for even 100 years for my father's sake. Repent! Do honest work! I don't want to hear it, you jerk. We don't have enough money. Medicine is expensive. My father was rapidly losing weight. His ribs were beginning to show through his back. I wanted to feed him something more nutritious. I was sure I could heal him. Why did he hang himself? I would have been happy to die instead if it were for my father's sake. For my father! And as he's saying this, he's just beating up numerous people. And then after all said and done, someone walks up and says, "Oh, wow, you're pretty good. They called me because someone was about to kill a child, so I came to see what I could do. But you knocked out 7 adults with your bare hands. You've got promise. You beat adults without a weapon. Impressive." And then we cut back to the present day with the body of Akaza thinking, who is this guy? What am I seeing? My memories? And then we cut back to his past. Want to come to my dojo? I don't have any students. Shut up, old man. I'll kill you. Those tattoos mean you're a criminal from Edo. From Edo. So were you banished from Edo and wandered here? So what if I did? It's got nothing to do with you. Uh-huh. Well, time for you to be reborn, boy. So come on. Drop dead, old man. And Akaza launches at this guy, but the man just literally beats Akaza right then and there, instantly. Just launches a flurry of blows at Akaza before Akaza could even react to it. Whew, you're tough. I gave you a beating, but you woke up in less than an hour. I'm Keizo. I run a martial arts dojo that teaches the Soryu style of fighting. I don't have a single student, so I make a living sort of doing odd jobs. What I want to have you do first, though, is nurse my sick daughter. I have some work to do, so I leave her to you. And Hakuji doesn't say anything. My wife was exhausted from nursing her, and she drowned herself the other day. This is hard. Then Hakuji doesn't say anything. The truth is, I'm so weak-willed that it was a burden on my wife and daughter. You sure you want to bring a criminal like me into your home with your daughter? Yes, but I beat up and defeated that criminal earlier, so it's all right now. This man says, I beat up the old you, so I'm not worried about you right now. We're alike. I get it. The reason I find you so unpleasant is because you remind me of this tiresome old story. This is my daughter, Koyuki. A worthless memory. And it's Koyuki, apparently the girl that was grabbing onto him in his memories. This is her. A worthless memory. Worthless. Now, when he was saying, I get it, the reason I find you so unpleasant is because you remind me of this tiresome old story, he's thinking of Tanjiro. Tanjiro reminds Akaza of Keizo so much. That's why Akaza is bothered by Tanjiro. But here we meet Koyuki. Worthless. Then Akaza, not Akaza, but Hakuji looks at her and she's coughing. And then Keizo speaks up saying, Your parlor is a little better than this morning. Are you feeling better? Your pallor, not parlor, pallor. Your pallor is a little better than this morning. Are you feeling better?
Yes.
This boy won't tell me his name, so get it out of him before I return. And then they just sit there. Hakuji and Koyuki just sit there. And then she says,
Your face. You're injured. Are you all right?
And then we cut back to the present day Akaza, who still is unmoving. I'll get better. Save. Protect. My whole worthless life. All I ever did was spew lies. And that marks the end of chapter 154, onwards to chapter 155. We're making good time. 5 more chapters to go. Chapter 155, Useless Kamainu. Useless Kamainu. Why do people suffering from illness always apologize? They're sorry for inconveniencing everyone. They're sorry because their cough is noisy. They're sorry because they can't work. They must want to do things by themselves. They can't stop coughing and must want to breathe normally. They're the ones suffering the most, but...
Forgive me.
And then Koyuki starts speaking to Hakuji as he's taking care of her.
Forgive me. Because of me, you can't train or go have fun.
Koyuki was very delicate, and her health had really worsened. I spent all night changing the towels on her forehead and her bedding. I had her drink water, and of course I had to support her when she went to the privy. I had nursed my father, and I could endure more than the average person, so it wasn't terribly hard. I never think about having fun. In my free time, I train around here, so... Oh, wait. He's speaking to her here. I never think about having fun. In my free time, I train around here, so pay no mind. Then she says,
But sometimes you need to get away from this. I hear there are fireworks tonight, so you should go.
That's right. I can carry you to the foot of the bridge, so shall we go?
Huh?
And then he wrings out a towel and replaces it. Even if you can't go today, there'll be fireworks next year and the year after that, so you can go then. And then she gets tears in her eyes and she just starts crying. The only thing I didn't like about nursing her was when Koyuki would weep pitifully while we were talking. I suppose being sick in bed was depressing, but when she cried, I felt really bad. And then we have Keizo. Oh, I see. The Haku in Hakuji is this. It's the same kanji character as Koma as in Koma Inu. Ah, I see. I knew it. You're the same as me. You need to have something to protect, like a Koma Inu protecting a shrine. Guardian statue at Japanese shrines. And this conversation is going on while Keizo and Hakuji are having a drink by a well. And Keizo was just laughing. My master wasn't a samurai or anything, but he had land in the dojo because he had once saved an old man being attacked by bandits. The old man was impressed by the Soryu style. He didn't have an heir, so he left his land and the old dojo to my master. But those who wanted the land and dojo for themselves weren't pleased. A dojo nearly began harassing Soryu Dojo. Because of that, Soryu Dojo couldn't get any more students, but lessons in nursing Koyuki here saved me. 3 years passed and I turned 18. Koyuki was 16 and was always up and around. She was able to live normally. Hakuji, come here! All right. And this is Keizo obviously speaking to Hakuji here. Will you be my successor for the dojo, Hakuji? After all, Koyuki says she likes you. Huh? And then Koyuki just looks down with a massive blush on her face, and then Hakuji has a massive blush on his face. I'd been branded a criminal, so I couldn't imagine a bright future, much less a future in which someone liked me. Would I be able to live a righteous life like my father said? The faint hope that I might be able to redo my life grew beyond my control. At that moment, I would have given my life to protect those two. And I never imagined they would be poisoned to death. I went to visit my father's grave to tell him there would be a wedding. I returned to the dojo before nightfall, but even before they told me, I felt nauseous. My stomach was churning, and my skin was crawling with a bad premonition. Someone put poison in the well! They did it because they couldn't beat Keizo or you face to face! They did something horrible! It's awful! They even killed Koyuki! Wow. Because of the fact that Keizo could not be beaten by other dojos, they took the coward's way and poisoned not only Keizo, but his daughter as well. You know, this is going to be one of those rare moments where I don't mind a demon killing some individuals in this story. I really don't. Whenever a crisis visits the people important to me, I'm never by their side. Even though I promised I would be. And then we are here at the fireworks, where apparently they've been to, with Koyuki and Hakuji.
Am I really good enough?
Oh, wait. Oh, this is Koyuki speaking.
Am I really good enough? When I was a child, we talked about going to see fireworks. Do you remember?
Huh? Well,
Those silly talks with you, Hakuji, made me happy. Even if I couldn't see the fireworks that year, you said I could go the next year or the year after that. I couldn't imagine living into the next year or the year after that. My mother was that way too. She didn't want to see me die, so I believe she killed herself. And I knew that my father had given up. I was so terribly weak. But you could see my future as if it were just a matter of fact.
And she says this with, a big blush on her face.
You talked to me about the next year and the year after that. I was so happy. Yes, you are good enough.
And then she says,
will you marry me?
Wow. Oh, this just makes what happened to Keizo and Koyuki even more tragic. So, but Hakuji was the one who said, "Am I good enough?" Not at the beginning of this conversation. It wasn't her saying, "Am I good enough?" It was Hakuji saying, "Am I good enough?" But then he answers saying, "Yes, I will become stronger than anyone and protect you for life." In the end, I was all talk and couldn't do anything. Records at the magistrate's office detailed that atrocious murder. After the master of the Soryu dojo and his daughter were poisoned, the single surviving student attacked the neighboring dojo, killing 67 of its members with his bare hands. Wow. See? Told you. This is what happens. This is just like that moment where in, what was it? Enter the Dragon? Enter the Dragon? Which Bruce Lee was it where he went to the dojo and beat every single one of the members in there? Yeah, Akaza did that, but he killed them all. That's what happens. Jealousy may not give you the jealousy, and envy may not leave you with the results that you want at the end of the day. But yeah, Akaza killed them all. Heads smashed, organs crushed. Most of the bodies, on top of being mangled beyond recognition, were missing entire body parts. It was a hellish scene with jaws, brains, eyeballs, hands and feet and innards scattered around, stuck to the ceilings and walls. The surviving maid lost her mind. The account was so unbelievable that after 30 years, the records were disposed of as a fabrication. Wow, this dude went beyond just beating them all to death. He ripped them to pieces. Not just saying that as like a metaphorically speaking, or, just figuratively speaking. He ripped them apart. And then it just shows Hakuji walking walking down a path just covered in blood, hands just dripping endless amounts of blood all over his face, him wheezing from him killing all those members. And then we have Muzan, who's standing across a bridge. Y'all know I got to do my Muzan voice. I heard there was a fuss about a demon, but I don't remember placing one around here. So I went to all the trouble of coming to see. But you're just a human. How boring. Move, or I'll kill you. And before he can even finish the sentence, Muzan is directly in front of him. And Akaza and Hakuji attempts to hit Muzan, but Muzan jabs his hand in Hakuji's... No, not in, just straight through. He just straight up jabbed his hand straight through Hakuji's head, just right then and there. I'm thinking about making 12 powerful demons. Can you withstand the amount of blood I'm giving you? Don't care anymore. I don't care about anything. I became a demon, lost my memories, and again began seeking strength. There was nothing left that I wanted to protect. I didn't even want to continue living in a world without my family. For over 100 years, I committed pointless acts of carnage. It's a horribly sad, laughable, and ridiculous story. And it ends with Akaza, Hakuji, embracing Koyuki for the last time in this chapter. And that is the end of chapter 155, onwards to chapter 156. Before I continue, that was incredibly tragic. Dude knew only pain. Everything he did was just to make sure his father was okay. But then his father hanged himself in order to not be a burden on his son, so his son wouldn't continue down the path of, constantly appearing in the magistrate's office and suffering endless punishment. Then he gets taken in by a dojo master who has a daughter who grows incredibly fond of him. And Hakuji has reasons to become stronger because he has something worth protecting. And that fills him with happiness. But then all of that is dashed away when a rival dojo that wanted the land and dojo for themselves decide to poison the well, and in that same instance kill both Keizo and Koyuki. And he loses even more happiness. And even after going to that said dojo and killing all of their members in the most horrific way possible for a regular human to do, it still wasn't enough. And even after meeting Muzan, getting straight up impaled through the head with a full hand, not caring about any of it at all, he just spent the next 100 years just doing random acts of carnage. It's quite sad for this dude. But moving on to chapter 156, thank you. Even if I die, I can't go back. I can't go to the same place as them. You made me remember my past. Humans are soft, fragile, weaklings. They die easily. They break and disappear. And then it shows Tanjiro in a wall. While he was musing about how fragile humans are, it shows Giyu. And then it shows Tanjiro waking up from being passed out. I passed out during a battle! And then it shows Akaza standing there as his head begins to grow back. His head has started to regenerate, even though I cut it off. Destructive death. Annihilation type. And Tanjiro pulls himself out of the wall saying, stop! He's still moving. No matter how many times I have to cut off his head, Giyu and I are going to win! Against Akaza! And as it looks like he's about to use Hinokami Kagura, his sword just flat out slips out of his hands. I dropped my sword! My grip! I lost the strength in my hand! But Tanjiro still continues towards Akaza and punches Akaza in the face, while his head is still regenerating, and Akaza just looks at him. And then it shows a brief image of Keizo saying, time for you to be reborn. And then Akaza continues to think to himself, I hate weak people. Weak people don't comfort you head on. Don't confront you head on. They put poison in the well. They're ugly. The weak lack forbearance. They soon give in to desperation. I killed people with fists meant to protect. I got blood all over my master's beloved Soryu style, and I couldn't fulfill my father's last wishes. Yes, the one I wanted to kill was... Oh no, oh no, 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 no! My katana went flying! Punches won't stop him! Akaza's trying to use the annihilation technique he used against Rengoku! I'll take Giyu outside the attack range. Forget about me, says Giyu. And they both get... I think Tanjiro tackles Giyu? And he looks back at Akaza, who's upside down due to, Tanjiro being upside down. But it appears that Akaza is smiling. And then there's a massive explosion around Akaza that is aimed towards himself. What the heck? Yo. He used his annihilation type technique on himself. He did it to himself. And all you see is just the mangled, severely mauled, and perforated body of Akaza. Still slightly standing there, but his body is just completely destroyed in more than several different places. Why did he attack himself? Why? For a moment, the scent of gratitude came from Akaza. Why did he smile? And then his body starts to regenerate. Despite him using the annihilation type on his body just starts to regenerate. Because, a demon can't destroy their own bodies. And it takes a Nichiren sword in order to do it. So his body just starts regenerating again. That's enough. Stop. No more regeneration. The fight is over. I lost. In that moment, I suffered total defeat. It was a bold and splendid technique. He perfectly read my moves and spun in right on the edge of control and slashed before I could fully launch my attack. It's over. So now, I want to go to hell gracefully. Where does he want to go? Oh, he stopped. And then it just shows Akaza standing in front of his father. Father, are you all right now? You aren't suffering? I'm fine, Hakuji. Thank you. And then Akaza just drops to his knees. I'm sorry, Father. I'm sorry. I couldn't do my life over. It was no use. That doesn't matter. And then it changes. It changes from his father to Keizo. Whatever you become, a son is a son. A student is a student. Even in death, we would not forsake you. But we cannot take you to heaven. Master. And then a hand grips his hair forcefully, and it's Muzan. And he's saying, didn't you want to become strong? Is this the end for you, Akaza? That's right. I'm going to be strong. I want to be strong. So what if he cut off my head? Losing doesn't matter. I'll kill them all. I can still get stronger. I must fulfill my promise. And then a pair of hands grips his face gently, and it's Koyuki. Thank you, Hakuji. You've done enough. 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 And then Muzan is in the background in the shadow saying, Akaza! And his appearance shifts from being Akaza to being that of Hakuji. And Hakuji embraces Koyuki. Forgive me. Forgive me. I'm sorry I couldn't protect you. I'm sorry I wasn't with you when you needed me. I couldn't keep a single promise. Please forgive me. Forgive me. Forgive me.
I'm glad you remembered us. I'm glad you returned to your original self. Welcome home, my love.
And then, right then and there... Wait, I thought a demon couldn't destroy their own bodies. Couldn't destroy another demon because then they just regenerate. Akaza's body stops regenerating and then just crumbles away. Wow. That's the end of 156. Onwards to 157, but wow. I could be entirely wrong about demons not being able to destroy other demon bodies. And I just probably overlooked it. But Akaza just gave up the ghost just a little bit. All right, onwards to chapter 157. Chapter 157, Returning Spirit. I'm home, father. I'm back. Master, Koyuki. I'm home. And then it just shows Akaza burning in the flames of, well, you know, burning in the flames of hell, it seems. He disappeared. It's over. Next, I have to hurry to Tamayo. And before Tanjiro can even do anything, he just slams and face first into the floor. And Giyu says, Tanjiro. But then he struggles, then Giyu struggles as well to move. And they both stop moving. Then we have the crows chiming in. Tanjiro and Giyu have defeated Akaza! They have collapsed from exhaustion! And then we have the number one. We have the number one upper ranker saying, Akaza's presence is gone. He has fallen. Akaza, weren't you going to defeat me? A path had opened for him to attain further heights, but he renounced it himself. And then he draws his sword. He's in an area with a lot of different walls. I don't know what to exactly call them, but a lot of walls and a lot of pillars. And in an instant, he unsheaths his sword, and every single one of them are just straight up sliced through instantly. How exceedingly weak. And then we have Doma chiming in, saying, Could Lord Akaza be dead? I felt a strange sensation for a moment, but I guess it was my imagination, as if Lord Akaza had become some kind of different creature. But he's gone, so I'll never know. What were we talking about? Oh, right, I asked you your name. Because remember, Doma is face-to-face with Kanao right now. And Kanao is standing there with a little blood and marks all over her body a little bit. I am Kanao Suyuri. I am Kanao Suyuri, Kanae Kocho, and Shinobu Kocho's younger sister. Huh? Really? Judging from the characteristics of the meat, there doesn't seem to be a blood relation. Most young girls are tasty, so anything is fine. Speaking of girls, right, Lord Akaza's loss was unavoidable. Because he would never eat girls. I told him women were so nutritious because they can raise babies in their stomachs, so eating lots of them makes you stronger fast. But not only would he not eat them, Lord Akaza wouldn't even kill them. In the end, his lordship tolerated it, but I wouldn't call that fair. Akaza was allowed to live and got special treatment. But now he's dead. How sad. He was my best friend, but... And then he just starts crying. And then I guess Kanao says, That's enough. You can stop spouting your lies. And then Doma looks up, he's all, What? I know every word coming from your mouth is a thoughtless lie. You're not sad, right? Not even a little. Your pallor hasn't changed at all, even though your best friend died. You haven't paled and your face isn't flushed with anger. That's because I'm a demon. Demons' eyes are always moist, so they don't blink.
but their blood circulates the same as humans, so their pallor changes. As she died, Kanae said she was sorry for you. You don't feel anything, do you? People in this world can feel joy, sadness, anger, and other emotions so strongly they tremble. But that's all a mystery to you, right? So you're smart enough to make up for it by lying. You can only pretend to be happy or have fun or be sad so you won't reveal your empty heart.
Just like a nobody from Kingdom Hearts.
Enjoying happy things, fun things, facing difficult things and painful things. You're actually an empty shell. A ridiculous joke. Why were you even born?
Wow, Kano's going in for the kills. She's becoming a savage right now. And then Doma says, "You know, I have spoken to many girls, but this is the first time I've talked to such an unkind girl as you. Why do you say such spiteful things?" And his demeanor completely changes. And then Kanao's face changes a little bit. And she says, "Don't you know? It's because I hate you. I want to cut off your head and send you to hell as quickly as possible. Let me rephrase that. You don't seem so smart. You disgust me, and the sooner you die, the better. Because there's no point to living you. There's no point to living you. How did I read it like that? There's no point to you living." And Doma is right behind Kanao's head, preparing to cut her head off with his fan. And Kanae dodges at the last possible second. And in one swift motion, she slices into his side. Then Doma brings his fan around again and narrowly manages to almost hits Kanae, but she dodges away from him again. "She's reacting faster. She's adapting to my moves and fighting style. She isn't inhaling the powder freeze scattered by my fan. Even if that hand sign said don't breathe it in, it would be hard not to while engaged in close combat. This girl might just be a little more skillful than the Hashira girl I just ate." And that's the end of chapter 157, onwards to chapter 158. Chapter 158, Chaos. My skin won't stop crawling. If I don't send strength all the way to my fingertips, my body immediately starts trembling. The demons I have defeated so far were infants compared to him. I can stand up to him thanks to this fierce anger. It's like my body is burning. The back of my throat is boiling. It's driving me so crazy I want to scream. I feel like my body will fall apart if I don't cut loose. I've never felt this way in my whole life. This is hatred beyond the anger. This is hatred beyond anger. I flowed into that word so weirdly. This is hatred beyond anger. I hate you. How dare you kill my family? And then she disappears from sight and is right on Doma with flower breathing, fifth form, peonies of futility. 7, 8, 9 successive attacks. Nice, pretty, so I'll do it too. Blood Demon Art, Barren Hanging Garden. Second form, Honorable Shadow Plume. I see. Her eyes. This girl has special eyes. I have special eyes. You know those My Brand commercials. The Mass Effect version of that commercial is incredibly funny. I see. Her eyes. This girl has special eyes. She narrowly parried and survived my attacks just now. My shoulders, line of sight, toes, elbows, and knees. She looks very cautiously at them. She predicts my next move from my slightest movement. Not only is she astute, but she does things that the average swordswoman cannot do. For now, I'll crush her eyes. And Kanae barely manages to dodge away from a slice of his fans as he attempts to aim for her eyes. Sixth form, Whirling Peach. What a well-trained body you have. It's like a spring. Blood Demon Art, Freezing Clouds. And he just sends an enormous amount of clouds in her direction, and she covers her mouth as she jumps away from it. Uh-oh, if I hadn't closed my eyes, my eyeballs would have frozen. Wait! And then he launches another Blood Demon Art. Blood Demon Art, Lotus Vines. And they all start to try and surround Kanao, but she slices through them. And then she lands in the little pond inside of the area as well. She lands in a pond area away from him. And then he says, "Here comes my next attack. Cold white princesses." And out of these lotus flowers come the heads of these women. And they blow into the air, and it just immediately starts to freeze the entire area. And Kanao jumps away from it before the water can freeze her in there. She jumps away from it before the water can freeze her in the water itself and, trap her there.
What a broad area technique. I can't get close.
Wintry icicles, and icicles appear above Kanao, and she just barely manages to dodge away from being impaled by them. And she's caught by surprise for a little bit. "Hey, you keep backing off. You can't cut off my head if you don't get close, right?" And then he disappears in a puff of frozen air.
He disappeared.
And then he's right behind Kanao, and Kanao's katana is completely missing from her hands now. She was holding it when he was on one side of the room, but now it's completely out of her hands without her even realizing it was gone. And this shocks her. "See? You weren't holding it very tightly, so I took it. Okay, I'll just stick this right here." And he embeds the sword right directly in front of him. "Come and get it! Blood demon art. Scattering lotuses!" And he sends numerous lotus flowers, frozen lotus flowers, aimed at Kanao.
"Many blades or freezing blood demon art. Observe, look closely, and assess. See clearly, accurately, the place of least damage."
And as she's getting cut across the face by these Senbonzakura petals, see clear, and then there's a crack. And it's Inosuke! There's a crack, but it came from the roof. Inosuke drops in. "Out of the sky, Lord Inosuke's coming in!" And this surprises both Kanao and Doma. "Beast-breathing, fifth fang, crazy cutting! The crow's guidance was spot on, so let's fight!" Yo, Doma, I think you might have met your match here, bruh. You are face to face with one of the craziest members of the Demon Slayer Corps. Inosuke's coming through. And that's the end of chapter 158, almost to chapter 159. One more chapter after this, and that'll do it for volume 18. Chapter 159, Face. Huh? And Inosuke is using his hand like a little telescope to look directly at Doma, and he looks at his eyes. And Doma's slightly sweating because he's kind of wondering, who is this dude? You're upper rank too! Your secret's out! I know you're second from the top! If I defeat you, I'll be a Hashira! I don't exactly hide that I'm upper ranker too. You look interesting. When I become a Hashira, they'll call me the Beast Hashira. No, the Boar Hashira. What do you think? Which do you think is better? Hey! You're all beat up. You're all beaten up. What are you doing? If you get injured, you'll, Shinobu will get real mad at you, and she gets really angry. And then Kanao looks at Inosuke, and that's when it dawns on Inosuke. Is Shinobu dead? Of course not. She's not dead. She lives forever inside me. All the people I eat are that way. All the people I eat are that way. I save them. They're no longer in pain. They no longer suffer. They become part of me and find happiness. And then Kanao starts to tremble in front of Inosuke, and then Inosuke thinks back. I stitched up the wound, so don't touch it, and don't pull out the thread on your own. And this is Shinobu, stitching up one of Inosuke's cuts he has on him. Pinky promise. And then he remembered Shinobu healing him, and then Pinky promised him that He won't mess with what she did to his hand to make sure that it actually heals. Yada yada. But he last remembers Shinobu smiling at him. And then Inosuke gets mad and says, "I'm gonna chew you up, you scum." And he launches right from where he was in front of Kanao. And Kanao says, "Don't breathe the cold air, he spreads." And Inosuke launches at Doma. "Beast breathing fourth fang, slice and dice." What sloppy technique with that chip katana and your strange swordsmanship. How very interesting. And Doma tries to, hit Inosuke with his fans, but Inosuke, using his superior flexibility, kicks off of the fan and knocks himself away from Doma. "Wow, you're flexible. Impressive. That head is a mask, right?" "You." And then, not only did Inosuke kick himself away from Doma, but he also managed to get his hands on Kanao's katana in that one swift motion. "You." "Is this yours?"
Yeah.
"Don't let him take it again." And then Doma, realizing what just happened, appears right in front of Inosuke, saying, "You're quick. I didn't notice." And it shows Inosuke fighting Doma as they slash at each other, not hitting each other, but then Inosuke lands a kick straight to Doma's abdomen. And then Doma tries to bring his fan down on Inosuke's leg while he's kicking him, but Inosuke immediately jumps back. "Not bad."
What?
"What? What?" "He's swinging his sword, but he's out of range. Too far away." And then Inosuke swings in direction of Doma. "See, you can't reach me at all." And right when he finishes that sentence, a slice appears right across Doma's eyes. "He got me with a slash." "Beast breathing, ninth fang, extending bendy slash." What is going on with Inosuke's arm? Did he just what is going on with his arm? Why is his arm bending that way? Bones cannot bend. Bones cannot bend. How are you doing that? I understand if your arm was completely broken in multiple different places, but how is your arm contorting and curving? Bones do not curve that way in a regular human arm. This is Inosuke. Why am I even questioning this?
Huh? Did he dislocate all the joints in his arm? What is he gonna do next?
And then he pops all of his bones back into place.
The precision of my new technique still isn't so good. I was aiming for your neck, but missed. No way, huh? No way, huh?
And Kanao is just completely shocked by all of this. Not only did he dislocate his own arm to slash at Doma, but he snapped it back into place in one swift motion. Inosuke is a beast. And then Doma laughs. "So you can immediately reset your joints. Doesn't that hurt?" "Right. Everything about you is really sloppy. I've been alive for a really long time, but I've never seen a kid like you." And then Inosuke breathes out of his mask. "Yeah, of course you haven't. Compared to the rabble, I, Lord Inosuke, am completely different." And then, as he says that, Inosuke's mask is gone. And he shows his face.
Inosuke!
Says Kanao. "Yeah, I knew it. It was a mask. And Doma has taken his mask. This boar hide has been through quite a lot. How did you do the eyes?" And then Inosuke immediately gets mad. "You, give that back." "I feel like I remember your face." And that's the end of chapter 159. Onwards to the last chapter of today, chapter 160. Chapter 160, similar features, returning memories. "We've met somewhere before, right?" "I don't remember ever meeting a maggot like you. Keep your filthy hands off of my fur!" "No, We have met. I know you. And I'm saying we haven't, you creep! The one I met before was Shinobu. I feel like I met Shinobu somewhere long ago. I was going to ask her about it if we ever met again, but...
Stay calm, Inosuke. He's just spouting off nonsense.
Nonsense? That hurts. My only merit is that I'm serious, and I have a good memory. I even remember the time when I was still human really well. Then Doma jabs his finger directly into his skull. Yuck! What are you doing? Ah! Oh, this is it. Was it only 15 years ago? That's fairly recent. A girl about 7 or 18 came to me holding a baby. She said her husband beat her every day and that her mother-in-law bullied her daily too. I created the Paradise Faith in order to protect pitiful people like her. I didn't have parents or siblings, and I didn't have anyone to rely on for it or anywhere to go. The first time I saw her, her face was so swollen her features were warped. What a horrible thing to do. She had gone blind in one eye because of her husband beating her, but her face returned to normal. After treatment, She was pretty, so she made a lasting impression on me. She had the same face as you. It was more delicate and had softer features, but I bet she was your mother. Yes, there's no doubt about it. I don't have a mother. I was raised by boars. She has nothing to do with me. Did a boar give birth to you? You're human, so a human must have given birth to you. Shut up, scum! Give that back! Beast breathing, six fang, Ino! Listen, and then Kanao screams out, Ino! But before she does that, Doma says, listen to my story to the end. Fate bringing us together is a miracle. And Inosuke is slashed in an X pattern across his chest completely. And Kanao manages to jump in and get Inosuke away from Doma before Doma can deal a full killing blow.
Inosuke, are you okay? Please calm down.
I didn't intend to eat your mother. It feels good to have someone so pure by your side, right? Unfortunately, your mother was a fool. But she was beautiful and good at singing. She often held you and sang to you. I don't know why, but instead of lullabies, she sang about pinky promises. Pinky promise. She always sang that to you. Pinky promise. I will protect you, I promise. Until you get big, your mother...
I will protect you, I promise. Until you get big, your mother will protect you all alone. Sorry, Inosuke, you may feel lonely, but I will work hard to protect you in your father's stead. Inosuke, I will protect you, even if it costs me my life.
And I guess this is her little lullaby, but I don't know how exactly that would apply if I were to sing it, so that's just me speaking it out. And Doma continues. The words of the Pinky Promise song were different each time. Partway through, it would become a song about Tanuki or something. It was cute. And then it starts to hit Inosuke a little bit. It wasn't Shinobu. I thought it was her, but it wasn't. So all this time, the reason why he kind of resonated with Shinobu a little bit is because Shinobu kind of reminded him of his mother. But it was his mother that he was remembering all along. That's why the Pinky Promise really resonated with Inosuke. It wasn't Shinobu. I thought it was her, but it wasn't. I intended to keep her alive until her lifespan ran out and not to eat her. But your mother, all right. Kotoha was apparently as perceptive as she was foolish. She realized I was eating my believers. Even if I explained myself, she couldn't understand my glorious work. So she cursed me and accused me of being a cruel liar. I think it is meant to be and accused me of being a cruel liar. And then she fled my temple. And it shows her, Inosuke's mother, Kotoha, running into the forest.
I'm sorry, Inosuke. I'm sorry your mother is so foolish. I always fail. I always go to someone bad. I'm sorry. I'm your mother, but I must take good care of you, but... Oh no, I don't know the way. I'm lost. Which way is to a village? What should I do? I'm sorry. I'm sorry. There's nowhere left to run. At this rate, she'll kill us both. At this rate, he'll kill us. Not she'll. At this rate, he'll kill us both. But at least you alone could live. I'm sorry, Inosuke. I'm sorry.
And now we find out why Inosuke looked up at the mountain and he saw a woman there. It was his mother all along. And then as Inosuke falls away from the cliff, we see a shower of blood erupt from the side of his mother as Doma stands over her. There's no way he could survive alone out there. You were foolish to the end. Dying because his mother dropped him from a cliff. How pitiful. And then it shows Inosuke as a baby falling into the river below. And then we cut to present day where Inosuke thinks, he killed my mother. I ate her, bones and all. If she ran home, her husband would beat her, and she couldn't do anything on her own, so she and her child would have died like dogs. Kota was miserable. Was she ever happy? Her life was meaningless. And then Kanao chimes in saying, shut up, you jerk! Then Inosuke, it just shows the back of Inosuke and him gripping his sword.
Your small hands are so cute, Inosuke. You're so warm, Inosuke. You're everything to me. I'm so happy I can be with you.
And then Inosuke gets up saying, fate bringing us together really is a miracle. After all, the demon who killed my mother and comrade is right before my eyes. You have my gratitude for making me remember. Just cutting off your head won't be enough. I'm going to send you to hell! And then that concludes the end of chapter 160 and pretty much makes up all of volume 18 of Demon Slayer Kimetsu no Yaiba. This story is getting real interesting and we're finding out the backstory of pretty much everyone, especially Inosuke. And now, I mean, when Inosuke is driven, he's a dangerous force, but when he's driven by anger, yeah, Doma's not going to have a fun time. But with that being said, let me not keep you here any longer than I already have. Really do hope you all enjoyed. Can't wait to see you all in my next video. And if you are new to the channel and you enjoyed what you saw here today, then consider subscribing because I am always looking forward to entertaining you. So have a fantastic day. And once again, as always, later, peoples.